Hi guys, thanks for watching. This is another Irvine test route. It stays relatively local. I'm going to follow the sat nav at the beginning of this route. It's currently a dry day, 3:30 on a Saturday.
Drive 0.5 miles to destination.
3:30 on a Saturday tells me that as I go past or close to Irvine town centre, there may be an increase in volume of traffic and pedestrians. At the moment we're on a road that's 30 miles an hour through the industrial estate from where the test centre was.
Arriving at destination.
I'm driving in the direction of the Thistle Hotel or the Old Ski and Do, depending how old you are.
Drive 0.2 miles, then turn left.
So at the end of the road we're going to turn left. On this hill the examiner will no doubt pull you over and ask you to stop at the side of this road and then get you to do the hill start. It's very popular here.
Turn left.
And turn a mirror left or mirror signal on left. Big tree to my right, looking as best as I can through it and now beyond it, and I'm going to make progress. There was a vehicle coming from my right, but it's a tractor, so it's moving fairly slow. And I had plenty of time to pull out of that junction. I also made sure that nothing was overtaking the tractor before I pulled out as well. Just bear that in mind. If you do have a slow moving vehicle from your right, you may well have time to pull out in front of it, but that's also the possible that someone's overtaking it because it's slow moving. At the roundabout we're taking the first exit to the left. We've got traffic lights on approach, no one's waiting to cross, and just before the roundabout,
then take first exit.
The speed limit changes from 40 to 30. So I've got a very open view of the roundabout. No traffic crossing my path, so I'm going to make progress.
Enter roundabout, then take first exit.
And turn on mirror left or mirror, staying in my position on the left hand side. Nice open view of the roundabout again. At this speed, very easy to make a decision. Early vision, early decision.
Enter roundabout, then take third exit.
So at the next roundabout I'm taking the third exit. So I need to look at the road sign to see where that is. The sat nav does tell me if I take my eye off the road. I can see the third exit is off to the right, so internal mirror, right door mirror and signal to the right. Very open view of the roundabout again at this speed. I can see that there's traffic on the roundabout, so I'm just slowing down a bit further, trying to find my gap. I'm not managed to find a gap to suit my progress, so came to a hard stop into first gear, now got my gap and I progress. Past the first exit, so keep my signal on in the right hand lane until I've passed the second exit, but as soon as I pass the second exit, which is now internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left, get across into your lane for your exit as early and as safely as you can.
Arriving at destination.
So now on the acceleration lane to join the dual carriageway. Got some traffic cones that might obstruct my view in my mirror, but I can see clearly enough
5 miles, then exit left.
that I can merge straight onto the road without adjusting my speed.
Exit left, then enter roundabout.
And immediately being asked to leave the dual carriageway again, so internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left. As soon as all four wheels are over a dotted line, cancel my signal. That way when I get to the junction,
Then take third exit.
my next signal will be a new signal and it won't be misleading to any following traffic. Going to the third exit to the right, so internal mirror, right door mirror, the signal to the right. I've used the hill to slow myself down so far. Can't see over the grass, just enough to see. Now I can see it, it's clear, but I've had to change gears because I just had to go that bit slower. Past the second exit, internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left. Again, getting across into my exit lane as early as I can, even though I can't even see the exit yet. Don't wait until you can see your exit before you change lanes. By that time it might be too late. Give any following traffic as much notice as you can through your signals.
Enter roundabout, then take second exit.
I don't see a sign on approach, so a quick look at my sat nav tells me second exit straight ahead, so I'm going to stay in the left lane. As you can see, the arrow on the road is also confirming that. Two mirrors, signal left. So we're now passing the Gailes Hotel on the right hand side. We're in a national speed limit still. Came off the dual carriageway, didn't see any new signs for speed limits, so it's still a national.
Arriving at destination.
The difference, of course, is it's not a dual carriageway condition, so the speed limit is 60 miles per hour. I can see the red car ahead is braked on approach to the bend, but it was still braking as it was going round the bend, so I'm going to ease off just a touch,
then enter roundabout.
just in case it saw something that I didn't or couldn't. I'm not seeing any hazards, so it's possible that the car in front just approached the bend far too fast and was braking throughout the bend. Always try and brake on a straight line before the bend. So still not seeing any new hazards as I go around this bend. Maintaining my speed to match my limit point. Your limit point is what you can see visibly. How far can you see around the corner? You should be able to stop your vehicle before you pass your limit point. But if your limit point is moving as you get closer to the bend, if your limit point is moving,
1 miles, enter roundabout.
then you can
first exit.
then you can make progress at the same speed or slower than that limit point. And I've got a 40 coming up now, so quick check internal mirror, small squeeze of the brake just to bring it down. I was only about 44, 45 anyway, so just a very small squeeze of the brake, bringing it down to 40, and then trying to balance my gas pedal pressure out to an even 40 miles per hour. So when you go back onto the gas after a slight change in speed like that, watch you don't over accelerate and bring it back up to the 40 or 42, 44 that you were doing in the first place. Road goes uphill, and from the approaching car I can see that it bends to the right. I can see that from the line of the lampposts as well. So use the lampposts, the tree lines, etc. to help you read the road ahead. And notice the lampposts are all on the outside of the bend. Whenever the road is straight, you'll notice lampposts will alternate left, right, but when you get to the bend, they tend to stop alternating left, right, and they go to either one side of the bend and usually the outside of the bend. At the roundabout, we're taking the second exit.
Then take first exit.
You hear my sat nav taking saying the first exit. That's because the first true exit on the left hand side has become an unofficial car park. It's a dead end. But it's technically the second exit, so I'm not signalling till here.
Turn right.
Got to check internal mirror and right door mirror and signal right. Very faded markings on the road that I'm turning into, so I was quite a bit slower than normal just to make sure I could see where the markings were and not cut them.
Arriving at destination.
There was a few cyclists on the left hand side as I approached the junction as well, so I was just making sure there wasn't a larger group emerging from the road that I was turning into.
5.2 miles, then turn right.
I've got a parked car on the left hand side, so checking my right door mirror as I move out. No following traffic, and I've managed to drift out and drift back in again without changing speed, so I don't even need an indicator, even if there were following traffic. Sharp bend to the left here. I've got a sign for roadworks, so I'm not sure if it's roadworks around the bend or if it's just because the bollards that they're leaning against are in need of repair. I suspect that's what it is because I'm not seeing any roadworks on the road.
Turn right, then turn left.
Now this giveaway, notice that because of the cobbles on the road there are no markings. So you need to be careful here and imagine where the markings would be. Coming to a stop nice and early, looking left and right. It's quite close to my left. It's quite open to my right, but there are parked cars further down the street which could block again another small road user. So making sure it's clear on both sides as I crawl out there. Now if you listen carefully to the video there, you'll have noticed my signal to the right had cancelled, and I should have put that back on until I'd completed the junction.
Turn left, then enter roundabout.
Now the left hand turn on the sat nav is actually a natural left hand turn, so I'm only checking my mirrors for my change of speed, not necessarily because I need a signal. I've got one following car
Enter
quite
roundabout,
close.
Then take 4 exit.
So at this roundabout I'm going to brake a bit earlier than I need to, normally, just to warn the driver behind that I may need to come to a complete stop. So when you have a following vehicle as you approach a junction, don't hesitate to brake slightly earlier but softer, just to let them know and give them more warning time.
Then take first exit.
And cancelling my signal so that when I put my left signal back on, it's a new signal. Bit of confusion over to my right there at the roundabout. Someone looks as if they were trying to exit off the roundabout into a no entry there. Don't know if you picked it up in the camera. So notice the sat nav gave me 2 instructions, one after the other. If your second turn is usually within sort of 300, 400, 500 yards from the first turn, they may give you 2 instructions, one after the other. But they'll repeat them when they get closer anyway. So I'm going to turn right at the traffic lights, internal and right door mirror to move into the right hand lane for that right hand turn. And my speed limit changes.
Turn right, then turn left.
Changes from 40 to 30. I've still got a green light and I've now got time to stop as it changed there. There was no following traffic, so it was perfectly safe for me to brake, just a bit harder than normal to come to a stop there. Whenever you're approaching a set of lights, even if it's green, be aware of your following traffic, so that if your lights do suddenly change like that, you've already made your mind up whether it's safe to stop or not. during that silence, I was sitting with the car in first gear all of that time, but with my clutch to the carpet, so that I'm half prepared to go as soon as the lights change. I couldn't see the traffic lights pointing the other direction, so there was no clue as to when my lights were going to change. It is perfectly okay to sit in neutral and then select first gear when the lights change, but it depends.
Miles, turn left.
That depends very much on how quickly you can find a bite and get moving. So as a learner driver, I would recommend that if you're one of the first 3 cars in the queue of traffic, that you keep the car in first gear with the clutch to the carpet, just to shave that extra second or half second off your preparation time and moving off time. So here I am 5 cars back, so I could quite easily go into neutral with the handbrake on, but the lights have just changed to green, so I'm straight into first gear. Wait for the traffic ahead to move off, but at least a car length from me before I start to move. Another set of red lights ahead. So checking my mirrors, not accelerating.
Turn left.
I'm not going to signal just yet. If I was sitting here for quite a while, especially at night time, it would be worse at night time. The driver behind doesn't need to know where I'm going at this stage. Your indicators are there to give them warning time and reaction time, but we're all stationary in a queue at the moment, so there's no point in me having my left indicator blinking away. Certainly it does tell them where I'm planning to go, but I've got time to put that on even as we move off here. So, checking my 3 mirrors as we move off, handbrake off as soon as the taxi starts moving. Now I can check my internal mirror, left door mirror, signal left, and the driver behind still has plenty of time to react to my intention of turning left.
In 0.2 miles, turn right, then turn right.
Got an oncoming vehicle. I do have space to progress. I just want to make sure that the oncoming car knows my intent. So just drifting out slowly there because I am in their space. I did have to breach the central line to make progress there. I don't want to be too aggressive in doing that in these occasions. I want to make sure that the oncoming car is staying in a straight line, and that I'm not forcing them to shift over closer to the curb. So take the next road on the right, taking this approach nice and slow so that I can time the gap after this black car and maybe get round behind it. As he slows down to make his turn, that makes the gap slower or shorter, so I'm not going to risk turning across the front of that red car. I'm now going to wait for a larger gap, which I'm now going to take, and I'm going to turn right again. So straightening up,
right.
Mirrors again, signal again, treating it
at destination.
as I should, 2 separate junctions. They just happen to be close together. On this road, it's possible you'll be asked to do a parallel park on the left hand side. And that can depend on how busy the road is. At this point here, there is a clinic on the right hand side. It's a Saturday at the moment, so the clinic's not open, but this road tends to be even busier with parked cars. Sat nav part of the drive has came to an end, so we're going to turn left at the end here. This can be a very busy junction because it's the closest car park to the new swimming pool in Irvine. So this road can be busier on certain days of the week. Swimming pool's not open at the moment, we're in the middle of COVID-19. But something to bear in mind if you're watching this video at a future date. At the end of the road, we're going to turn left. Internal mirror, left door mirror. In between those mirror checks, I checked the young pedestrian on the right hand side, just to make sure he didn't decide to cross the road as he turned the corner towards me. So just an example there where your mirrors are of course very important, but don't take your eye off a moving hazard that's quite close to the vehicle unnecessarily. If you feel on your test that you've checked your mirrors later than you normally would because of a moving hazard like that, so for example here I've got a pedestrian walking with his back to me on the road just before I came to the roundabout, if that was going to delay my mirrors and signals because I'm treating him as a priority, then feel free to vocalise that to the examiner and justify your actions. Just open your mouth and explain to the examiner that you understood that you could have maybe checked your mirrors earlier or signalled slightly earlier there, but your priority was that pedestrian. The examiner would probably know that anyway, because of course he's going to see the same hazard, but there is no reason why you can't justify something that you did, especially if it wasn't obvious. I'm going to take the next road on the right back towards the test centre. So mirrors done, signal done, now positioning to the middle line. We've got oncoming cars, so slowing down nice and early, braking nice and early for the following vehicles behind me, and my approach speed suits the gap in traffic, and that avoids coming to a complete stop. The traffic behind, you might initially think that they will be annoyed because I slowed down a lot earlier than I normally would for that turn, but in the grand scale of things they will be happy that they kept moving and not came to a complete stop. So if you can plan the road ahead and keep the traffic moving and not come to a complete stop, that will actually help all the other drivers out. So we're back along this road that we started on, so it's a 30 all the way back to the test centre now. I'm not going to turn into the test centre car park because it's closed, so in about 300 or 400 yards I'm just going to pull over and stop on the left hand side. The examiner's instruction would be find a safe place on the left or right to pull over and stop. So he's expecting you to also find that place to be convenient for everyone else and legal for everyone else. The examiner might not even say find a safe place, they might just say can you pull over on the left when you get a chance. Right, the beeping that you just heard there was just the length of the grass hanging off the curb and triggering one of the sensors on my bumper. So once you've stopped, handbrake neutral, relax your clutch leg, relax your brake leg and await the next instruction.